Hello again, welcome to part 3. First of all, I apologise if I sound a bit croaky, I'm just getting over a cold. This is part 3 of the SmartShow Pro-One overview, review and basic setup. First video we looked at the unpacking of it and basic setup. Number 2 we looked at a bit more of the actual software on the controller. We did a firmware update. And we connected it to X lights, and we got some nice disco lights flashing away, which is what we all like. We all like flashing lights. So in this one, the third one, we're going to have a look at connecting it to some more LEDs. Now, I'm going to make an assumption here. If you're going to be using one of these, then you already know about Universes, about DMX, about how to connect them. So if you don't know about Universes and DMX, there's some great videos on YouTube to watch those. So apologies if I start talking technical, but I'm going to, like I say, I'm going to assume that if you're going to be buying one of these, then you know about Universes. Right, okay, so this video we're going to have a look at connecting it to some LED lights. Now I know what you're thinking, LED lights, yep, easy peasy, there we go, that's our LED lights. Well, that's very true, but there are several types of LED lights that you can get, and I'm just going to be covering a few of them to show you the setup, but obviously, you know, there's various ones, and when we look at the software, I'll show you what some of the different LED names are. So these are WS2811. These are called Bullet, I think they are. They tend to be used for signs and making words and that sort of stuff. And if we look at it, it's got a chip on one side, a little circuit board the other side, and the actual LED in the top there. So that's 2811. The common one is this one, which is your 2812. This is what's called 5050, I think it is, which is 50 millimeters by 50 millimeters square. You can also get 2020. And these are 5 volt, as you can see on the circuit board, and we've got a data in and a data out, and the information travels over the LEDs that way, and we've got a 5 volt and ground as well on that. So these are waterproof because it's got like a plastic film over it. So they're the sort of the common ones that a lot of people use. But you've also got something like this. And I must admit, this is new to me. I've not used these in the past. So what are these? So if we can zoom in a bit more, focus, upside down, sorry. Try that again. Now, if you can see that, these are slightly different because you've got the, where's my, there we go. So you've got 5 volt, you've got a CK, which is clock, then you've got the data, and then you've got ground. And as you can see, you've got some resistors here, a capacitor I believe, and then the chip is separate as well. And on these particular ones, you can cut it at every LED, so that you can, there's a cut line there, look, and there's a cut line there, so each LED can be cut as well. I'm not going to cut them. This is just a 1 meter roll that I've got, a 1 meter length that I've got, just purely for testing purposes, and I'll show you how it all links to the SmartShow. So why am I doing this? Well, it's to show you that within the lighting environment that you're in, you may have different LEDs. Normally you would have to have different controllers set up for the different types of LEDs. With the SmartShow Pro-One, you don't need to do that. The SmartShow Pro-One software allows you to have different types of LEDs all running from the same controller. Right, okay, enough of my waffle. Let's have a quick look at the software. All I'm going to do off camera, I'm just going to plug it in the power, plug in the network as well. So I shall be back with you in a moment. Right, we're back on the bench at the moment, so let's go into the controller as before, and those observant about you would notice that we're now on version 0.13. It's just recently been upgraded, the patch release for version 13. So one thing I forgot to mention in the last video is that if you're running several of these on a stage or behind some sets, and you want to make a change on one of them but you're not too sure which one you're connected to, you can go into network settings, and then when you press the identify button, you'll notice that the display on the Pro-One controller is changing to flashing. I'll just zoom in so you can see that again. So we've clicked the identify again, and you can see it flashing away. So that's what it'll do. It'll flash. So it's like the number 2, but it's got the middle a bit missing. So it's got like two arrows on it. So you'll know which one that you're connected to if you've got a stack of these behind a stage. Okay, so that is the identifier, which I meant to show you in the previous video. Okay, so we've got our basic setup here that we're going to be in ArtNet, and everything on there is fine. The output is fine. We're going to set our default pixel, which is what it is at the moment, of WS2812s. That's the ones that are on the black background with the data in, data out, 5 volt and ground. So that's easy. The color code, the color order is your RGB or GRB or BRG or whatever it is. So that's what that is there. But we're going to have a look at this. So you can either have it in this order at the moment, which is your universals are set up for you. So you can have your 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. They're set for 2 universes each on those, as you can see. And you got the name, so you can set a name. So if you've got one that says stairs, or one that says background, or one that says clouds, or something like that. And you can also click on to selectable, and what that does is it allows you to set your own universes. So say we set this for 6, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starting at universe 0. But what you can also do on this is you can set this one as well, and you can set it for the same number. And what that will allow you to do, there we go. So when the controller outputs this data, it will do to both. So you could have cloud left, for example, if it's on the left hand side of the stage, or cloud right, and so therefore cloud left and cloud right with these 6 universes will show exactly the same information. Oh, we're limited by the number of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we're limited by the number of letters that you can use. So I can't put the T on right. So it looks like it will only allow 10. There we go. Here we can change the pixel type. So remember, the default is 2812, so you don't have to set it as 2812s because that is what the default is, or 2812B. like that, because on the setup that we did here, it was already set. What we've also got to remember is to press save. Now this might catch you out, and so I'm going to do this for you and show you what happens. So I've set 2 lines here exactly the same, and I'm going to press save on the first line. And what it's done is it saved the first line, but it hasn't saved the second line. I do believe that Bob is working on a save all button that will go down here, but at the moment don't forget that when you make a change to a line, you press the save per line, otherwise you're going to lose the changes you've made. So let me just do that again. Cloud right, 2812, and we're going to go 6, and we're going to duplicate it. And we're going to hit save. Okay, so that's just showing you that when you set this up, you can actually duplicate the universe order. So the 2 outputs, A and B, will show the same output for those universes. Okay, you'll notice that when I'm moving the mouse over the A, B, C and D, E, F, G, it also changes colour. So what you can do is you can actually test that port. Yeah, and if you can see there, it does actually highlight the port as well. So we now change it to B. We can change it to C. So as you can see, there we go, turn off B. So the LED that's underneath the port will actually show. So now I've got A and C highlighted, and you can see the LEDs flashing on there as well. Turn those off. There we go. Right, just before we go back to the bench, I'm going to set up the LED outputs that we're going to connect to our LEDs, of all things. Now remember, on the LEDs that I showed you on the 2801s, there's a clock channel. So I've set A as the pixel clock, as you can see in the drop down there, and that will give out the clock signal to the output A. And the actual signal that's going to go to the LEDs is the 2801 data, which is on there. So that will be the first 2 outputs. So A will be the clock and B will be the actual data. Channel C will be the 2812Bs and D will be the 2811s. So that's the 3 different types of LEDs, including a clock, that you can set up on the Pro-One. Across here you'll see that I've set the brightness on these 2 to 75% and that one to 100%, and I will play about with those later and show you 100%, etc. Don't forget that on each of these lines, as you set them up, as you select what you want, you must press save on the individual lines, otherwise any other changes you will lose them, because you need to save each line individually. Hope that's okay. All will become clear when we go to the bench and we start connecting the LEDs up. Right, we're back on the bench and we've got the 5-volt transformer here. That's connected to these couple of cables here, which are powering the controller just there. And I've also got a couple of those Wango, whatever you call them, connectors, just to distribute the power between the the controller and the LEDs. Where can I go? I'll tell you what, let's get those LEDs out of the way first of all. Right, okay, so this will show that we've got the cables coming in and the signal will go that way. Just a warning though, one thing I have noticed about this particular cable that I've got here, or this particular set of LEDs that I've got here, is you'll notice that the yellow is actually next to the blue at the top, but then here the yellow is actually next to the red at the bottom, and the two cables, the two middle cables, twist in the middle here. So just be careful of that when you're doing this. Don't always take that the second one down must be yellow, therefore it's that one there. Yep, it catches colourblind people out just like me. Right, so anyway, we've got our cables connected here. So we've got the 5 volt and the ground, which go to our power here, which is connected to the transformer. And if you remember on the screen, we had the clock, which is connected to A, and the data, which is connected to B. Okay, that's fairly straightforward. That's all done. Next thing we'll do is we can connect one of these up. This is your WS2812, and just the same as before. Let me find a cable. Here's a cable, so we're just going to connect that on the end there. We're going to set the ground, and we're going to pop the ground into our connector like so, and we're going to pop our 5 volt into here. So this is just distributing the power, so there's nothing particularly fancy. It's just a easy way just to be able to connect and test lights. There we go. And then the signal cable, and we'll pop that in C. So A, B, C. No, sorry, that's ground. A, B, ground. C is the 4th one along. So let's just pop that one in there like so. So just a note about that ground. So you may be wondering why this ground isn't connected up. Well, it's only because I'm sharing the data, the power here. So the power is being used here, which is on the same power distribution as the lights. So I don't need to ground the lights through the controller. If you're using separate power to power your LEDs from your controller, then you will need to connect the ground up. Okay, so let's put that LEDs on there. So now we've got two sets of LEDs. We've got the WS2812Bs on here, and we've got the WS2801 LEDs on there. These LEDs use a clock, these LEDs don't. Right, as you've just seen, we've upgraded to the latest version of the firmware, which is now version 0.15, and we'll have a look on that on the screen in a moment. Just to let you know what I've done, I've just very quickly set up the wiring on this. So this is the WS2812, so we've got that connected in. We've got this 2811, I think it was, which is connected in. Now this is the one with the clock on it. It's not 2811, is it? It's 2801, sorry. And these are the 2811s, the bullet type here. So these are all connected to the controller. We've got power going into the controller here, got network here, signals are coming out here, and all the power is just split by these connectors here. Got the transformer off to the side here, so everything's set up. Let's get rid of that to one side. Okay, so if we switch the power on, nothing will particularly happen. I've got an LED just here, but nothing's happening at the moment. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to very quickly lean over to the PC. Just bear with me for a moment. Right, okay, and I'm back again. Let's switch the main light out. There we go, we can see all the LEDs now. So we've got the LEDs here, these are the 2812s, these down here, and these here. So we're all connected in and we're working, and we're just running a very simple test on the particular ports just to make sure that everything's working all right. Okay, that's that connected up. I'm going to flip over to the PC now, so I'll be back with you in 1 second and we'll have a look at the controllers. Okay, so we're back on the PC now, and as you can see, the LEDs are still outputting some colour, and there's the version down there, version 15. So what's new on version 15? Well, on version 15 you can set the individual universe sizes if you want. As you can see, the 16 universes there, universe 0 all the way to universe 15. If you need to manually set the size on these, if it has to be 512 or you've got a universe of 250 for example, then you can set it in there. No matter what output it is, the universe sizes will be set by this here. We're not going to use those at the moment, but if you do need to override it, you can do. So let's just hide that. That's the latest in version 0.15. At the moment, we've got it set up here. We've got B, C and D, which are outputting at the moment. And as you can see, B is on WS2801 data. And on port A, we've got the clock connected, which is the other connection on the LED strip. In output C, we've got the 2812s. And in output D, we've got the 2811s. Now, those observant, mind you, would have noticed that not all the LEDs are showing the correct colour. So let's get them switched off. There we go. And we'll go to pixel testing. Now what's going to happen now is I'm going to say, right, let's have output 1 switched on. So output 1 switched on, ignore the universe size. So output 1 is switched on. So as you can see on the 2811 and the 2812, both are showing green, but on the 2801 it's showing blue. So that has a different order to the rest of them. So let's go to our output. So it's the 2801 which has a different colour output. So let's change that to something else. I think, if I remember rightly, it's 321 on this one. So let me just save that. Okay, that's been saved, and we'll go to pixel testing. We'll switch it all off and press. Oh, okay, so it's just done a refresh there. That's okay. And we'll press number 1 again. Okay, so now it's showing us red instead of green, so that's still not right. So let's go to setup, and okay, we'll go for 312. Let's just save that. Okay, that's saved, and we'll switch off the output. I think my network is a bit slow, which is why we're getting that timeout. There we go. Okay, so now we're showing correctly. So they're all showing. No, they're not. The 2811 is. So the 2811 is shown as red. Right. Okay. 2811 is showing as red. So let's go for maybe 321 as well. Let's try 321 on that one as well. Okay, pixel testing, switch them off, reload the page, thank you very much. There, that's better. They're all now showing as green. Great, okay, switch that off. Let's go for, okay, so it's not quite right, but as you can see, the whole point of this is to show you that you can in fact fiddle about with the colours until you get it right. It doesn't have to be set the same for all of them. which is what you have to do with a lot of the controllers. No, still not right. Anyway, I'll have a play about with this in a minute. Just to show you, not that one, there we go. So this is your default is here, so anything that's set up for default will be set in here, but the outputs will actually be set up individually in here instead. Right, okay, so that's all done. I know it's not perfect at the moment, but you can see, you can just sit here and play about a bit until you get the order correct. And there we go. So we have green, we have red, and we have blue. So that's all them set up correctly now. So on the 2801, it's 312. On the 2812, it's default because that's what's in our default there. And the 2811 is 213. However, we now know that the outputs are in fact all correct. Okay, let's go back to the automatic test of the channels. So B, let's switch that on, and that starts on blue and starts to go through all the different colours. Let's do C, which is the other string, and now they're the same. And finally D, and they're the same as well. So now we've got all the outputs and we're testing. We're just going through a colour cycle now just to make sure that everything's the same and everything looks the same as well. Don't forget you've got the brightness here, so let's turn that one down. That's a 2811 to 25%, and we can save that, and as you can see it's immediately gone dull. Let's go for 75% on that one now. It's gone brighter, and if we change that one to 10%, save that. Yeah, you can see that's gone way down. Change that to 75%, and that should go a bit brighter again. Okay, so there we go. That's just to show you that you've got full control over not only the LED type, the LED colour, whether it's RGB, GRB, etc. You've also got individual control on the brightness, and you've got individual control now on the universe sizes. This is to show you how flexible that this controller is. You can do absolutely anything with it, and all I'm doing is just playing about with it on the bench. Okay, let's just check everything now just to make sure that we're absolutely up to date with everything. So we've got the helpline, we've got the help on the side here that will give you bits of information if you want it. We've got the identification of the actual control itself, IP number. The MAC address of course is fixed, and the subnet mask is above it. Okay, in protocol we can set up whether we're ARNet or SACN, or we can set the starting universe is there. Normally it's 0, but I know some things like X-Lite, sometimes you've got to start at 1, and the last universe is calculated from that. The output configuration is 16 universe or 32 universe. Don't forget that if in 32 universe, you have to press the little joystick on the front to go into configuration mode, and it will change the display to a C to let you know you're in configuration mode. Or we can get DMX mode like I showed you with the DMX lights. If you change the output, you have to reboot the machine. There's your default, the LED, the brightness, and the colour order. Then we go into the actual outputs themselves, and you can assign whether it's a clock or whether it's a data. You can assign what type of LED that you've got. As you can see there's a whole variety of LEDs that you can select from, so there's a great mix there of how you want to do it. You can go for the Cascade Universes, which is there, or the selectable Universes there. New one for version 15 is the actual individual universe sizes itself. I've not touched this because I'm just playing about on the bench, but I think if you've got some sort of display, like if you've got Christmas display for X lights or something like that, then you can set your individual universes here. Pixel testing we've seen, so you can test the individual channels for RGB, which is here, or RGBW, which is the white channel as well on that. Finally, on device settings, we've got the tooltips. So if we want to turn the tooltips off, we can do. And that will make them disappear if we turn them on again. Boom. I must have a word with SmartShow about that pixel testing tab, and the size is automatically showing. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Visible is there. The LED brightness on the device itself, if it's up in the rafters or on a costume or something, you don't want that to show. Reset to factory defaults and reboot the device itself. There we go. That is everything you need to know about it, about the controller. One very, very, very handy option you got on it as well is the fact that the user guide is built in. So all you got to do is click on that link, and that is built into the controller itself, and you have all the information that you need there. And it goes into some quite some depth about it as well. Just to show you that there are the 3 different types of outputs you can have, and it does tell you about the configuration mode on there as well. So there you go, that's the manual. Well, there it is. That is the SmartShow Pro-One, which has just been released on the market. Contact smartshow.lighting is the website, and you'll be able to order one from there. I'm not too sure the price at the moment because the controller that I've got is pre-release, and I'm sure that there'll be another version of the software out soon. But don't forget, if you buy the full retail version, you get the most excellent box with a little magnetic snap shut from the front. You get the brackets as well, so you can connect it to racking, a simple startup guide, key rings, and a SmartShow pen. And don't forget, of course, if you're lucky like me, you'll get the t-shirt as well. Right, so that really is the SmartShow Pro-One. If there's a newer version of the software comes out with some extra bells and whistles on it, I will do an update to the video so we can quickly go through that. Let me just disconnect it. Second. So there we go, that's the box itself, all finished, all done. Outputs there, screw connections, and you can undo them as well. Power goes in there, or you can power it by the USB at the front. We've got network connections in and out, so you can daisy chain these. You only need one connection from your network switch, and you can daisy chain these. As long as they've got their own IP number, it'll work absolutely fine, and that will save you a lot of messing around with network cables. Display there, joystick connection there, so you can manually set the IPs and go into configuration mode as well if you're in the 32 universe version of the software. Well, there you go. That is the SmartShow Pro-One. I'm very lucky. I've got serial number Demo 4. And thank you very much to SmartShow and the team over there. Thank you very much to Bobby and Dawn at SmartShow for sending me one of these pre-release versions to test. I hope that the whole team at SmartShow will continue to build these and release them, and I hope that you guys watching this would be inspired to buy them as well. They do link up to X-Lights, they do link up to Jinx, anything that outputs an outnet or scan will in fact work on this. It's a very powerful, very small box. I'm not too sure on the price. You'll have to contact Bobby, and I do believe that there might be a discount for bulk buys, but he's the man to ask about that. Thanks very much for watching. If you like what I do, please give me a thumbs up. And don't forget that all this talking is making my throat dry. So if you are kind enough, please buy me coffee from the link below. I'll be back soon. Thanks very much for watching. Catch you later.